What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that's been on my mind ever since Ghost of Yotei dropped. How does it stack up against two of the biggest open world titles we've seen in years? I'm talking about Red Dead Redemption 2 and Horizon Forbidden West. Three massive games, three wildly different settings, but all trying to do the exact same thing, build a world that we never want to leave from. Now I know what you're thinking, shut up your face. Red Dead Redemption 2 came out years ago, but it's still the measuring stick for open worlds. But here's the thing, Ghost of Yotei brings something fresh to the table, and Forbidden West had its own ambitions when it launched. So the question is, what actually nailed it? Which game actually created an open world that felt alive, rewarding, and worth dozens of hours of exploring? Stick around because we're going to break down everything from the world themselves to the activities you can do with them, the way the quests are designed, and how these games makes you feel like you're a part of something bigger. And hey, if you enjoyed this type of deep dive content, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to grow this thing and your support means a lot. But without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, let's talk about the world themselves, because if the setting doesn't grab you, nothing else really matters, right? Ghost of Yotei takes place in Enzo, which is now what we call Hokkaido, around the year 1603. It's this gorgeous, untamed version of Japan that's still reeling from centuries of conflict. Sucker Punch really learned a lot from the first game because Yotei feels more atmospheric. You got sprawling fields of wildflowers, dense bamboo fields, volcanic peaks covered in snow, and these quiet little villages tucked away in valleys. The lighting in this game is just mind-blowing. I'm talking golden hour at sunset that makes you stop whatever you're doing just to take a screenshot. There's the cinematic quality to everything, like you're living inside a Kurosawa film, but with a modern polish to it. And honestly, I just spent way too much time riding around on my horse, letting the wind guide me towards whatever catches my eye. The game doesn't hold your hand with a million map markers, it trusts you to explore organically. You'll see smoke rising in the distance or hear a faint sound of music, and that's your cue to go check it out. It respects your time and intelligence as a player, which is something I really appreciate here. Now, Horizon Forbidden West is no slouch either. Aloy's Jr. takes her into what used to be considered America's West, California, Nevada, and parts of Utah. But this isn't just a post-apocalyptic wasteland, it's a world that's been reclaimed by nature in these massive robotic creatures. You got flooded cities, crumbling skyscrapers, and these hauntingly beautiful ruins in the old world. Guerrilla Games really pushed the PlayStation 5 to its limits here. The water effects alone in this game are just jaw-dropping. The underwater exploration is a huge part of this game, and it looks phenomenal. What I love most about Forbidden West settings is how it blends a sense of mystery with visual spectacle. You're constantly wondering what happened to the world before, and every ruin you explore adds another piece to that puzzle. The machines themselves are works of art, and watching the Thunderjaw patrol a canyon or a sun swing soar overhead never gets old. It's a world that feels both alien and familiar at the same time. But then you got Red Dead Redemption 2, and again, I know it came out in 2018, get over it, on last gen hardware, but the game still looks stunning. Arthur Morgan's journey takes you through the dying days of America's frontier in 1899, from snowy mountains to the swamps to the heartland to the New Hanover, and eventually down the deserts of New Austin. Rockstar crafted this world with attention to detail that is borderline obsessive. The way the light filters through the trees, the way the mud cakes on Arthur's boots after walking through the swamp, the way that the towns gradually change and grow as the story progresses, it adds all something that feels genuinely alive here. I remember the first time I rode through the game at dawn, watching the fog lift off the valleys while the sun started to break through the clouds. It's one of those moments in gaming that just sticks with you. And the thing is, Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't just look good, it feels real. The ecosystem just works here. Animals hunt each other, the weather systems roll through dynamically, NPCs go about their routines whether or not you're watching. It's this living, breathing world that exists beyond your immediate interactions with it. So which game has the best settings? Honestly, that's a tough one because they're all doing great but different things. Yotei is going for that elegant cinematic samurai feel. Forbidden West is delivering that vibrant post-apocalyptic playground full of mystery, and Red Dead Redemption 2 is giving you the most authentic recreation of a historical period we've ever seen in gaming. I call this category a three-way tie because each world succeeds in exactly what they're trying to be. But let's move on to what you can actually do in these worlds. Because here's the reality, a beautiful map means nothing if there's nothing interesting to do in it. So let's break down the activities and the side content for each games. Horizon Forbidden West gives you a lot to do and a lot to work with. You got the main story missions that push narrative forward, but then there's all the side content, rebel camps to clear out, hunting grounds where you test your skills against specific machines, cauldrons that basically are these self-contained dungeons full of puzzles and combat challenges, and tall necks to climb and override so you can reveal more of the map. There are also these relic ruins where you solve environmental puzzles to uncover old world artifacts, and the game adds a whole lot of underwater components with sunken ruins to explore. The main character also gets pulled into helping various tribes with their problems, which leads to some generally interesting side quests. You learn about different cultures that have emerged in this post-apocalyptic world, and some of these stories are legitimately compelling. There's even this board game called Machine Strike that kind of is like a chess mix with strategic monster battles, and I'll have to admit I got way too into it. But here's where Forbidden West stumbles a little bit. Once you've cleared a few rebel camps, they all start to feel pretty the same. Same with the hunting grounds and some of the side activities. The initial wow factor just wears off and you realize you're just going through the motion. It's not bad by any means, but it doesn't have that same pool that keeps you exploring for hours on end. Guerrilla Games built this gorgeous sandbox, but the toys start to feel a little repetitive after a while. Ghost of Yotei handles things a lot differently. Instead of littering your map with icons and waypoint, the game encourages natural progression. You'll find these guided cars scattered throughout the world that point you towards specific activities, but you can also just wander around and stumble upon things. You may be riding through a forest and you might spot a shrine tucked into a hillside, or you'll hear signs of combat and find groups of bandits attacking travelers. Or a golden bird might catch your eye and lead you to a hidden hot spring where you can relax and reflect on your journey. The side activities include bounty hunts where you track down dangerous criminals, climbing at challenges that test your platforming skills and reward you with stunning vistas, music minigames where you play traditional songs, painting sessions where you capture beautiful landscapes, and these spontaneous encounters that can lead into multi-part storylines. What I love is that each activity feels purposeful. You're not just checking boxes, you're uncovering stories, meeting interesting characters, and discovering the secrets of this world. And the way the progression works is clever too. Finding new armor dyes and cosmetics, upgrading your gear through crafting, unlocking these new combat techniques, it all feels earned rather than handed to you. The game respects your time and rewards your curiosity. I found myself getting distracted constantly in this game, but it's all in the best way possible. I'd be heading to a main mission and then a golden bird would just suddenly appear, and then I'm 20 minutes into a side quest about a wandering monk who lost his students. It's that kind of organic flow that makes exploration feel beautiful. But then there's Red Dead Redemption 2, and honestly this is where the other two games just can't compete. That sheer density of content in Red Dead Redemption 2 is just staggering. You got strange missions that can span multiple chapters, random encounters that pop up consistently as you ride around, hunting and fishing that is deep enough to be its own game, gambling activities like poker and blackjack, legendary animals to track down, treasure maps that lead to hidden loot, gang hideouts, home robberies, helping strangers in need, duels, and so much more. What sets Red Dead Redemption 2 apart is how seamlessly it all weaves together. You might be riding to meet someone for a mission when you'll see a stranger getting attacked by wolves. You'll save them and then they'll mention they're a gunsmith who's setting up shop nearby in a later town. You later visit that town and sure enough, there's a new gunsmith there who gives you a discount because you helped them out. Or you might be hunting a legendary bear and take that pallet to a trapper who can craft unique clothing from it. Everything is just connected. The random encounters alone could fill another video. You'll meet the same NPCs at multiple times across different chapters and they'll remember you. Their stories progress whether you're involved or not. I once met a man who was bitten by a snake and gave him some medicine and then ran into him again 3 chapters later in a completely different state. He recognized me and thanked me with a gift. These tiny moments add up to create this sense of that the world is real and reactive to you. And here's the thing, you can play Red Dead Redemption 2 for hundreds of hours and still find new things. There are entire quest lines hidden away that most players probably never even discover. The level of detail is just absolutely absurd. You can watch a construction crew building a railroad over the course of the game, See towns grow and change, track the migration patterns of animals based on the season. It's that kind of world building that makes other games feel static by comparison. So in terms of content and just activities, Red Dead 2 takes this round pretty decisively. Ghost of Yotei does a great job of making everything feel intentional and worthwhile, but it can't match the scale, and Forbidden West, while packed with things to do, it falls into that open world trap of feeling repetitive that makes you feel like you're just working through a checklist. Now let's talk about the quest design, because this is where things get really interesting. How do these games handle their storylines and their character interaction? Horizon Forbidden West takes a pretty traditional approach. Isla meets NPCs who need help. She agrees to take on their problems, complete the objective, and returns for a reward. The main story is strong. It deals with heavy themes about legacy, responsibility, and the mistakes of the past. And some of the quest lines have genuinely emotional weight to it. You learn about tribes, their histories, and their struggles. These twists and surprises that keep these things engaging, but structurally it's all pretty straightforward. You're rarely surprised by how the quest unfolds. It's well written and well acted, but it doesn't take many risks. I think Guerrilla Games played a little safe here, which is fine, but it also means Forbidden West doesn't have those memorable quest moments that stick with you long after you finish the game. Ghost of Yotei steps things up considerably. The questline here have layers. You might start a bounty hunt thinking that it's just a simple job, but you track the target to a stronghold, fight your way through, only to have them escape last second. Then you encounter them again later in completely different circumstances, and you realize their motivations were more complex than you have thought. Maybe they were stealing to feed their family, or they were seeking revenge for something that happened to them. The game isn't afraid to blur the lines between right and wrong. The one quest that stuck with me involved helping a woman searching for her missing brother. Simple enough, but as you dig deeper, you uncover this whole conspiracy involving corrupted officials, family secret, and tough moral choices. By the end, I genuinely didn't know if I made the right decision. And that uncertainty, that moral ambiguity, is what makes these quests memorable. Asu isn't just a hero cleaning up the countryside. She's a person navigating a complicated world where good and evil aren't always cut and clear. The writing also allows for these small character moments that make Atsu feel real. She cracks a joke after a tense situation, or shows genuine vulnerability when remembering her past. The voice acting is just purely fantastic, and the emotion capture work brings these characters to life in a way that makes you care about their struggles. But once again, Red Dead Redemption 2 plays an entirely different game. The quest design in Red Dead Redemption 2 is some of the best in the medium. Every mission feels like it matters, whether it's a main story beat or a random stranger mission. You might help a widow collect debits from people who owed her late husband money, and that simple task turns into a commentary on morality and survival. Or you meet a struggling inventor who's trying to build an electric chair, and you have to test it on volunteers. It's dark, it's funny, and it's weird, and it's unforgivable. The main story is a masterclass in tragedy and the character development. Arthur Morgan starts out as a loyal outlaw who believes in the gang leader Dutch Vanderlyle, but over the course of the game, he watches Dutch descend into this paranoia and violence. Arthur's arc is about redemption, about trying to do right by the people he cares about, even if his world falls apart. And the way Rockstar tells the story through gameplay is just brilliant. The missions aren't just shootouts and heists, they're character studies. You spend quiet moments fishing with the gang members, having conversations around the campfire, going on rides where the real substance is in the dialogue, and the stranger missions are legendary. There's one where you encounter a serial killer and you have to track them down using clues scattered across the map. Another where you're helping a photographer capture images of rare animals, or one where you meet a guy building a robot and then later you find that robot mourning his creator's death. These aren't just side quests, they're fully realized stories with beginning, middles, and ends. What really sets Red Dead 2 apart is how the world continues without you. NPCs have schedules, they wake up, they go to work, they eat meal, socialize, and go to sleep. If you visit a town at different times of day, you'll see different things happening. A shopkeeper that you rob might remember you and refuse to serve you. A person you help might greet you with warmly. The game tracks hundreds of interactions and builds the persistent world that reacts to your choices. In comparison, both Yotei and Forbidden West feels more static. NPCs exist primarily to give you quests and provide services. They don't have lives beyond their function in the game. It's one of those things where you don't notice it until you experience the alternative. But once you've played Red Dead Redemption 2, it's not hard to see the limitations in the other open world games. So for quest design and world activity, Red Dead Redemption 2 wins the round. Ghost of Yotei puts up a good fight with its layered storytelling and morale complexity, but it can't match the scope of what Rockstar achieved, and Forbidden West, while competent, just doesn't take enough risks to stand out either. So alright, let's bring this all together. After spending dozens of hours with each game, which one actually did open world the best? Red Dead Redemption 2 is still the king after all these years. Even running on hardware that's now considered outdated, it remains the most fully realized open world in gaming. The level of detail, the reactivity, the sheer amount of content is unmatched. Arthur Morgan's story is tragic and beautiful at the same time, and the world he inhabits just feel more real than any other game that I've experienced. It's the kind of game where you can lose yourself for hours, whether you forget that you're playing a video game because you're too busy living in this meticulously crafted recreation of American frontier. But here's the thing, both Ghost of Yotei and Horizon Forbidden West are excellent games in their own. They're just doing things differently. Yotei is a more focused, cultivated experience about quality over quantity. Every activity feels intentional, every quest has weight, and the world is just gorgeous to explore. If you want open world that respects your time and doesn't overwhelm you with busy work, Yotei is a better choice. It's also got some of the best combat in the genre, which we didn't even get into. The dually system alone is worth the price of admission. Horizon Forbidden West is the most visually impressive of the three, especially if you're playing on PS5. The creature designs are incredible, the underwater exploration adds a whole new dimension, the story tackles big psychological quests about technology, humanity, and the responsibility to the future. It's ambitious and gorgeous, and all the while stumbles with some repetitive side content. The highs are really high, and if I'm being completely honest, which game is best depends on what you truly value. Do you want the most immersive reactive world possible? Play Red Dead Redemption 2. Do you want a streamlined, beautiful adventure with tight combat? Then Ghost of Yotei is your choice. Do you want a visually stunning sci-fi epic with robot dinosaurs? Well, obviously Forbidden West is the go-to. You really can't go wrong with any of them, but if we're strictly judging based on the open world itself, the activities and the quest design, in the sense that you're living, breathing in this place, Red Dead Redemption 2 still holds the crown. It's the measuring stick that every open world game needs to compare itself to, and it's going to take some time to truly dethrone it.
All of you venerate savagery, and you will die savagely.
Get out here! Stay strong. Stay with me.
Alright everyone, that's going to be it for this video. I hope it helped you if you're on the fence about any of these games. Maybe it's just giving you some perspective on what makes a great open world game tick. This is generally the type of content that I love making. Deep dives, comparisons, we're really breaking down what really works and what doesn't in gaming. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm trying to grow this channel, so please help out. And if you also want to help me on Twitch, the link is in the bio. It's the same username. Catch me live sometimes and we can chat and talk. But until next time, we will be covering more content. So stay smart, stay safe, and stay alpha.